What's up, Bears fans? Nicholas Moreano here. As you can see, I'm in my home office. Unfortunately, not able to cover this Thursday night game, the last home game of the season at Soldier Field. Kind of disappointed about that, but I'm not gonna lie. Watching the game from home last week was actually a nice change of pace. Got to hang out with family, watch the game, and it's not as long of a day when you're at the stadium, and that seems, and that'll be like the same thing here, except I'll be at my apartment watching this Thursday night football game, along with many of you who will be watching from home. So I'm excited about that. Disappointed I can't be at the last home game, but the plan is to be in Green Bay to close out the 2024 NFL season. So I'm happy about that, excited about that opportunity, and looking forward to it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nicholas Moreano. I've been blown away by the support that I've seen on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, and people just DMing me. Just with everybody leaving likes and comments and everything on these last two videos that I've done. It's been incredible, and I truly do appreciate that. And if you can show a little bit more love for this quick video that I'm doing, before this Thursday night football game, I would really appreciate it. Before I kind of get into some of the things I'll be watching in this Thursday night football game between the Bears and the Seahawks, really quickly, we obviously have the news that Pete Carroll would be interested in coaching the Chicago Bears next season. That's coming from Adam Schefter. And I'll say this, I feel like every coach, every former NFL coach that doesn't have a job right now is going to be interested in any of the vacancies that happen or that are already open in this next coaching cycle. And then any of the assistant coaches that are currently not head coaches are also going to be interested. It's a head coaching job. Only, one of 32 get to be, or actually 32, I should say, get to, get this very unique and obviously very important job in the NFL. So I think a lot of these guys that are looking to become head coaches, were head coaches, want to be head coaches again, are going to be interested. So the news that Pete Carroll is interested doesn't surprise me at all. Now, I will say, kind of similar to what I had on my approach with Bill Belichick. You at least talk to Pete Carroll. Like, you don't just see the name and say, nah, we're good. 73-year-old, coach trying to become the next Bears head coach. I'm good. You don't do that if you're Ryan Poles in the Bears organization. You at least, listen to what a guy that has, and I'm looking over here, I just have some stats. Carroll holds 170 and 120 regular season record and 11-11 record in the postseason in his 18 seasons as an NFL head coach, and was a guy that did a lot of great things in college, set 97-19 record, won 2 national championships and 4 Rose Bowls. You go over here just to what he did in Seattle. I mean, when you think of Pete Carroll in the NFL, you think of Seattle, of course. 14 seasons there, 10 playoff berths, 2 conference championships, and obviously the only Super Bowl that the Seattle Seahawks have won. So a guy that has a lot of accolades, a lot of success wherever he's gone, collegiate ranks, the NFL. I just don't know if this is the right job for him at this point of his career and where the Bears currently stand. And I mentioned the age, and from everything that I've read, I never had a chance to, ask Pete Carroll questions or anything. I did go to Seattle for, I think it was 2022 they played there for a preseason game, but didn't have an opportunity to run into Pete Carroll over there. But everything you read about him, he does bring, for being 73, and he'll be 74 by the time the next season is underway, he doesn't act his age for in a good way, meaning youthful, and brings excitement and energy. And I was reading this awesome article from The Athletic that was actually done last year, and I just want to make sure I give credit to the writers here, Michael, Sean Duggar, and Jason Jenks. October 27, 2023 was when the article was written. It's just a bunch of quotes from former players, coaches that have been with Pete Carroll, on from the beginning of the article, what his team meetings were like. And something as like a team meeting, like, oh, it's probably pretty straightforward. Not with Pete Carroll. He brings energy and excitement. And I'll just read you 2 of the quotes because You need to go read this story or these quotes that have been said about Pete Carroll and how he runs his meetings. You have Jermaine Kearse, wide receiver. Honestly, the team meetings were a shit ton of fun. They couldn't write the word shit, but I could say it here on this video. You also have Malcolm Smith, a linebacker. His team meetings are honestly what I think sets him apart from other coaches. I'm just going to read those two because that kind of gives you the sense of what Pete Carroll can bring. And okay, imagine, let's say hypothetically the Bears were to, you know, make Pete Carroll their next head coach. I think there would be a culture shift in what would be expected in this Bears locker room. For the most part, from when I've been in there, it has been good. Like you're not seeing, especially during the week. Guys are, I think, still showing signs of life, despite being a 9-game losing streak or whatever it is at this point. It could be more after tonight. There were guys still interacting with each other, which is great. Obviously, some of the losses, especially Detroit, took a toll on this team, and they've been taking a toll each and every week. And you hear some of the quotes coming out of the locker room, but this kind of guy in Pete Carroll, I think, would bring a different type of change into just the atmosphere. I don't want to say playful because that could be taken in a negative connotation, but like this game is meant to, you need to have fun, I think. When you're winning, obviously the fun comes with it. But if you're playing football and not having fun, and this sounds so like elementary, but that's a part of this game. It is a child's game that these guys are playing, but I think Pete Carroll definitely brings that, but he also brings experience. He also brings a proven track record and success, and you bring all that with the kind of atmosphere and the mentality that he has, and I think it does create a unique, I think, intriguing maybe scenario for the Bears. But like I said, I don't think the Bears go in this direction. When I think of Pete Carroll too, the word that doesn't come to mind is longevity. As in he's going to be here for the long haul with Caleb Williams and, some of these other core pieces, Roma Dunze and guys like that. I don't see those two. Those are on completely different ends of the spectrum right now. So that's where kind of I guess the decision for me comes into play. And again, everything that I've read, he seems like he's had quotes where he's like he's in the best shape of his life, and this is at 73, and there's no telling how long he can keep that up for. But just for me, it's just not the right decision right now for Pete Carroll and for the Bears organization. Had this been maybe, I don't know, 5 years earlier, 6 years, 10 years, whatever, maybe, yes, that would work. And also, too, if you're fitting Pete Carroll into, is he the offensive-minded guy? Is he defensive-minded guy? I mean, technically, he would be in the defensive-minded role, but obviously he's had influence with so many quarterbacks over his, career. You go Russell Wilson, you go Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, Matt Castle comes to mind. They're these kind of guys. So I just think that yes, maybe if you pigeonhole him into this, a defensive minded guy, you're not giving him credit for everything else he's capable of doing. So yeah, Pete Carroll interested in the Bears job. That's great, and I think the Bears at least should talk to him. They didn't talk to Bill Belichick, and I gave my stance on that. I wrote an article about that, but Bill Belichick in the college ranks. So is it crazy to think that Pete Carroll, who, is taking a year off, I think he was teaching at USC, would want to get back into the NFL? It doesn't surprise me at all, given how he operates. And, those guys, like any other player or coach in the league, you're competitive, right? You want to get back into this game and you want to get, ultimately win a Super Bowl. You know what? I am curious though. Like, what does Pete Carroll see in the Bears? Isn't that an interesting question? Like, why is he interested in this Bears job? When you look on the outside, yeah, if you love Caleb Williams, yes, that's why you want it. But there are some other core pieces here as well. But when you see it and you kind of maybe, if you're just looking on the outside looking in, maybe the the power dynamics between Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles. What's that like? Is that going to be even on your timeline? The same timeline as bringing in a new head coach. So it's interesting to think what is interesting about the Bears job to the outside prospects, head coaching prospects. So, obviously we would probably, we would need whoever that next head coach would be, ask those same questions. So that is interesting to think about. Like I said, do I think Pete Carroll will be the next Bears head coach? I don't, but come on. You got to talk to him at least once and probably be chewing bubble gum while he's doing this, doing his interview or whatever. Really quickly, let's talk about this Thursday night football game, Bears-Seahawks. For me, as I'm watching this, it's always going to start with Caleb Williams. It has to start with Caleb Williams. These last two games are about Caleb Williams. And, I really liked what I saw, and, I kind of detailed it in just some video breakdowns that I was doing, but the way he was able to learn from a mistake in the Minnesota game, apply the correction in the Detroit game, you want to see more of that. And also, you just want to see him start off right. And, it was interesting to hear Caleb be so hard on himself for missing that first throw on an out route to Keenan Allen against the Detroit Lions. And, I remember putting in my notes like, oh, here's another game where Caleb might be inaccurate because he missed that throw, and he was hard about himself on that throw. So let's see him start fast. I know we've been saying this since week one, but seeing him hit those throws, be in rhythm from the start, and let that carry over into meaningful minutes in the fourth quarter. Ultimately, that's what I really want to see. If the Bears end up losing, and here's the prediction for me, this feels like a very 27-23 game in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. That'll be my final score prediction, 27-23. But at least go into that fourth quarter where it's a game, where Caleb has an opportunity to go win it, tie it, whatever. At least play meaningful minutes in the fourth quarter where you're already not blown out by the Detroit Lions went up 20-0 at one point, I believe. You can't have that happen, especially against the Seahawks, who I believe have lost two straight to NFC North opponents with the Packers and Vikings. And they did so. I'm looking down here at my laptop. 30-13 loss for the Seahawks against the Packers, and then a 27-24 loss against the Minnesota Vikings. So this is a team that I think is what was on a 4-game winning streak. Gets those 2 losses. They need to get back on track. They're still in the mix for things in the playoffs, and a loss here is going to put them in a really bad position. So they obviously have something to play for. The Bears, they want to win this game. I know people are draft position. I completely understand that. But in a locker room, seeing what a win can do for a team, especially this late in the season, knowing what the Bears have been doing, it would mean a lot to that team. And I think for Caleb Williams, who's now on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-game losing streak. So I think for them, they obviously want to win this game, and however they can get it done, they'll get that done. And, defensively, I need to see some life, man. This is a team right now, Bears defense, and I get it. They have not been a good unit this year, but when you give up 30 points or more in your last 3 games, and that's the San Francisco 49ers, 38-13, 30-12 against the Minnesota Vikings, and then 34-17 against the Detroit Lions. You got to show a better effort than that. And this pass rush needs to come alive. Like, we haven't seen Montez Sweat become the dominant pass rusher that you thought he would be in his second season being in the same system. And I do believe he's been dealing with a bunch of injuries in general that have really derailed him. But you need to just see for these other guys, this is like a job audition. Who is going to show up and put good tape for that next coaching staff? And, I don't have any fear of Kyler Gordon not being on this team next year. Obviously, he's still under contract. Last year, his rookie contract. But I want to see more plays from Kyler Gordon. There was a play against the Detroit Lions where Jahmyr Gibbs has a spin move on Gordon, and Gordon's a very athletic guy, doesn't usually let those type of plays happen, but he gets to the edge and I believe is able to get a first down. For Kyler Gordon, this is a great opportunity, man. You're going up against Jackson Smith and Jigba, over 1,000 yards on the season. His last 3 games, he had 82 yards against Arizona, 83 yards against Green Bay, 95 yards against Minnesota, and 2 touchdowns, one against Minnesota, one against Arizona. So it's a guy that's been doing some good things. And we all know about the viral clip of Jackson Smith and Jigba when talking about Shane Waldron, but he's a guy shifty, can operate in the middle of the field, is going to work from the slot. Hey, Kyler Gordon, that's going to be your guy all game. So looking forward to seeing that matchup, but really just looking forward to seeing how some of these other defenders and can really just show up in this game. I want to see more from Tremaine Edmonds. I think for me, been disappointing this season. Just hasn't made a lot of those big plays. He had a couple, or the linebackers in general, TJ and Tremaine had some pass breakups last week against Detroit, but let's see some plays from the guys in the middle there. And then, like I said, this pass rush, we need to just see more in general from the unit. And look, this is also a team, the Bears right now, going into this game injured on the offensive line. You're not going to have Braxton Jones. You're not going to have Tevin Jenkins. So you're missing the left side of your line. You'll most likely see Larry Borum and Jake Curran, Coleman Shelton, Matt Pryor, and Darnell Wright. Yeah, so it's not going to be obviously the best line that Caleb Williams has been under center for, but he's got to make it work and just get the ball out quickly, go through your reads, and ultimately get out of this game in one piece. And I'm curious, man, he's not too far away from breaking this single season passing yard record. I think he needs 285 in each one of these games to break the record, if I'm not mistaken. He can do he can put a big number here on Thursday Night Football in prime time. Let's see what ultimately happens here. But hey, appreciate everybody again, like I said in the beginning of this video, for showing support for the other videos. I really I'm showing my fiance, look at this. People want to hear me talk, and this platform allows me to do that a little bit more. So again, thank you for everybody for tuning in. Thank you for liking and subscribing, leaving comments. It's been awesome. And I'm thinking we'll see. And I don't want to date this video by saying let me go live for this game Thursday night, but we're going to try to make things happen. Tune in. Hopefully everyone enjoys the game. Enjoy your Thursday night football, and hopefully everybody had a good holiday and spent time with family if you could. But that's going to do it for this video. Hey, I'm sure I'll be doing something real soon, but tune in next time. See you guys later.